If you stood before the Adewale mansion in Ikoyi, Lagos, you would think you'd just walked into a dream. The house glowed white under the morning sun, its walls lined with tall palm trees that danced in the breeze. At the gate, 2 security guards stood at attention beside polished black SUVs, while a gardener trimmed flowers so perfectly they could have been painted. Inside, laughter echoed, not the warm kind, but the sharp, dismissive type that often hides in wealthy homes. 3 teenage girls lounged across a velvet sofa in the living room. Gold decor shimmered on the walls. The smell of imported perfume hung in the air. They were the Adewale sisters, Tenny, Lola, and Beezy. Tenny, the eldest, tapped away on her phone, her voice dripping with pride. "Do you see the way that driver talks? Like he even knows who he's working for." Lola, her younger sister, scoffed. "You should have seen the housemaid this morning. She doesn't even know how to pronounce croissant. She said croissant. Can you imagine?" Beezy laughed a little too loudly, eager to be part of the moment. "Poor thing. Maybe she's never even seen one before." And then came the laughter again, rich, mocking, cruel. Across the hall, Amara, the maid they were mocking, stood silently, folding laundry. Her hands trembled slightly, but her face stayed calm. She'd learned long ago that tears never changed people like them. Amara wasn't used to this kind of world, the chandeliers, the marble floors, the girls who talked to her like she was invisible. But she had dreams. Dreams too big for her silence. Sometimes, when the house was quiet at night, she would sit by her window, looking at the glow of the city lights and whisper, "Someday, my life will matter." But Lagos doesn't wait for anyone's dream, it tests it. That afternoon, the sisters' father, Chief Adewale, arrived home in his usual rush, surrounded by bodyguards and business calls. His voice filled the air as he barked orders into his phone. "Tell them the contract must go through before the weekend, I don't care what they say." To the world, he was a legend, a man who built empires. But inside that mansion, his presence was like thunder, loud but never warm. His daughters adored his power but learned nothing from his heart. "Daddy," Tenny called out sweetly, standing to greet him. "You won't believe what the maid did today." But Chief Adewale waved her off. "Tenny, not now. I have meetings." He brushed past them, heading upstairs, his stress hanging in the air like smoke. The girls looked at each other disappointed, but used to it. When you grow up in wealth, even affection starts to feel like a transaction. So they turned their frustration on the only person they could, Amara. "Since our father doesn't have time to teach manners," Tenny sneered, "let's start with you. Why is the floor still wet?" Amara opened her mouth, but Tenny's hand waved her off. "You know what? Just mop it again. Properly this time." Lola smirked. "And after that, press my dress for tonight. Don't burn it like last time." Amara nodded silently and turned away, her eyes glistening. But what no one noticed was Mr. Shola, Chief Adewale's oldest business associate, standing quietly near the staircase. He had seen everything. And the look on his face said he'd seen enough. That night, Lagos roared with its usual rhythm, traffic horns, generator hums, the laughter of people who had nothing but still found joy. But inside the mansion, something different brewed. Chief Adewale sat alone in his study, his face pale, his hand trembling as he dropped the phone. The call had come from London, the company's offshore account had been flagged. Millions frozen. An investigation had begun. For the first time, the men who owned everything realized he might lose it all. Upstairs, the sisters laughed over dinner, arguing about which restaurant had the best jollof. But downstairs, their father stared blankly into space. He didn't know how to tell them. He didn't know that within days, their lives would turn upside down. By morning, it began. The first thing they noticed was the tension in the house, quiet whispers among the staff, hushed phone calls, the driver refusing to start the car until small issues were settled. Then, Mr. Shola came to the house again, holding a brown envelope. He spoke carefully, choosing his words like a man walking through fire. "Chief is not feeling well. He'll be flying out for treatment. Until he returns, things will be different." Tenny frowned. "Different how?" He sighed. "There might be some changes. Temporary ones." But the word temporary carried a weight they didn't understand, not yet. Days passed. Bills arrived. Staff started disappearing. The mansion grew quieter. Then, the lights went off, not from a generator fault, but from an unpaid bill. Tenny screamed at the electrician, "Do you know who my father is?" He looked at her sadly. "We all know, madam. But light don't have respect for name." That night, as darkness swallowed the once bright mansion, Amara brought out candles. She placed them gently on the table. "At least there's light now," she said softly. For a moment, the sisters didn't mock her. They just stared at the flickering flame. Something inside them shifted just a little, though they didn't understand it yet. The candles burned low in the once glittering Adewale mansion. Shadows climbed the marble walls that had always gleamed with wealth. For the first time, silence filled the air, no generators humming, no perfume scenting the rooms, no staff scurrying around. Just silence, and pride, slowly dying in the dark. Amara moved quietly through the living room, setting one more candle near the staircase. The wax dripped like tears down the gold holder. Behind her, the three sisters sat stiffly, arms folded, staring into the soft light like strangers in their own home. Beezy broke the silence. "Tenny, are we poor now?" Tenny's jaw tightened. "Don't be ridiculous. Daddy will fix it." Lola muttered under her breath, "If he even comes back." The words hung heavy. Chief Adewale had flown to London 2 nights before, and no one had heard from him since. Rumor had it that the investigation was deeper than anyone imagined. The next morning, a knock came at the gate. It was Mr. Shola again, holding a smaller envelope this time. He avoided Tenny's eyes as he spoke. "The accounts are frozen. The household funds are gone. You'll have to cut expenses immediately." Tenny's pride bristled. "We can't live like common people." Shola sighed. "Tenny, sometimes God shakes the ground beneath us so we learn to walk humbly." She stared at him, anger flushing her cheeks. "You sound just like the maid." Amara was standing by the stairs, clutching a mop. Their eyes met briefly. Tenny turned away first. Days blurred. The power stayed off more than it stayed on. The cooks were gone. The drivers too. Soon, even the guards left, saying their salaries hadn't come. Lola tried to call her influencer friends, but they didn't pick up anymore. The group chats she once dominated with selfies and bragging went silent. Meanwhile, Amara quietly kept the house running. She cooked simple meals, beans and plantain, jollof rice from what was left in the store. Sometimes she used her small savings to buy groceries. When Beezy fell sick one evening, it was Amara who sat beside her, pressing a wet towel on her forehead. "Don't worry, you'll be fine," she whispered. Beezy blinked weakly. "Why are you being nice to me?" Amara smiled faintly. "Because pain teaches us faster than pride ever could." For the first time, Beezy didn't look away. She nodded, then came the surprise that changed everything. One humid afternoon, a silver car pulled up outside. From it stepped Mrs. Oladipo, a well-known society matron and family friend. The sisters rushed to greet her, hoping for good news. Instead, her words cut like glass. "Girls, I'm sorry. The government has seized the Ikoyi property. The debts are too high." Lola's voice cracked. "You mean, we're losing the house?" Mrs. Oladipo nodded. "You have 1 week to vacate." Tenny tried to argue, but her voice trembled. "We're the Adewales." "Yes," Mrs. Oladipo said gently. "But even kings fall when they forget to kneel." She left them in stunned silence. That evening, rain poured hard over Lagos, hammering the roof like angry drums. The sisters sat huddled in the parlor, shivering, watching the water leak through a crack in the ceiling. Amara appeared, holding an umbrella and a small envelope. "I can help," she said quietly. Tenny looked up sharply. "You help us?" Amara nodded. "My NGO project just received a small grant. I can find you a temporary apartment until your father returns." Tenny's pride rose again. "We don't need charity." Lola turned away. "You really think we'd live off a maid's money?" Amara's eyes softened. "Maybe one day you'll understand it's not about money. It's about mercy." She left the envelope on the table and walked out into the rain. That night, none of them could sleep. Beezy cried quietly. Lola stared at the ceiling. Tenny lay awake, her chest heavy with something unfamiliar, shame. A week later, the sisters moved into a 2-bedroom flat in Yaba. Gone were the marble floors, the luxury perfumes, the chauffeurs. Now they woke to the sound of hawkers calling outside, Ajij bread. Gala. The reality of Lagos life hit them full force, Nipa light that vanished without warning, water they had to fetch themselves, mosquitoes humming in the dark. Tenny tried applying for internships, but every company asked for experience she didn't have. Lola auditioned for a media job but was turned down. Beezy, still the youngest, began volunteering at a small youth center nearby just to escape the walls. Ironically, it was there she saw Amara again. Not in a maid's uniform, but in an elegant dress, speaking confidently to a crowd. She was now program coordinator for the Blossom Women Initiative, an NGO empowering young women to gain skills and education. Beezy froze. Watching Amara speak stirred something inside her, admiration mixed with regret. After the event, she approached quietly. Amara. Amara turned, surprised but warm. Beezy. I wanted to say thank you. For helping us, when we didn't deserve it. Amara smiled. We all fall. What matters is what we learn when we're down. That was the first bridge mended. Word spread quickly through Lagos media about Blossom Initiative's impact. Donations poured in. Amara was invited to partner with larger corporations. And in one twist of fate no one saw coming, the new community project sponsor turned out to be the Adewale Group's foundation, revived under a court settlement after Chief Adewale's health improved. When Amara received the call, she sat still for a long time. Then she whispered, "Life truly comes full circle." Weeks later, a grand charity event was held at the Civic Center. Cameras flashed, guests arrived in elegant gowns. The sisters, now humble and working as volunteers under the NGO, stood by the entrance checking tickets and handing out programs. They didn't mind the work. It felt good to be useful again. Halfway through the event, the crowd went silent as Amara stepped onto the stage. She looked radiant, confident, kind, powerful. Her speech was simple but piercing. Kindness isn't weakness. It's strength disguised as compassion. I once worked in a house where I was treated as invisible. But life has a strange sense of justice. It teaches us that pride builds walls, and humility builds bridges. Her eyes found the sisters in the audience. She smiled. After the applause, she approached them quietly backstage. The air between them was thick with memories. Tenny's voice broke first. We were terrible to you. Lola wiped her eyes. We thought money meant respect. Beezy simply whispered, I'm sorry. Amara took their hands. You were young. Now you know better. That's what matters. The following month, Chief Adewale returned, frail but alive. When he saw his daughters serving food at a community outreach event beside Amara, he could hardly speak. Tears filled his eyes. I don't know what happened while I was gone, he said softly, but thank you for giving me back my girls. Amara smiled. No, sir. Lagos did. Life did. From that day, the Adewale family partnered fully with Blossom Initiative, funding training centers for women and girls across Lagos. Tenny became head of communications. Lola handled outreach and media. Beezy coordinated youth programs. And Amara, the once mocked maid, led them all with grace. Sometimes, when she passed the old mansion gate, now converted into a community school, she would pause and smile. Because somewhere in the chaos of Lagos, beneath the noise and the hustle, she knew that pride had finally been silenced and replaced with purpose.